If you have found your way to this video, it is no accident. You have arrived at that pivotal threshold, that quiet yet overwhelming moment where something deep within begins to rebel. You might struggle to articulate what is stirring, but you sense that continuing on your current trajectory has become impossible. There exists an internal fracture, an invisible divide that separates your authentic being from the facade you've maintained for survival. This is not chance, it is destiny. Every human being encounters this internal upheaval, and most choose to ignore it, numbed by familiar patterns or paralyzed by the terror of transformation. But for individuals like yourself, this breakdown becomes a breakthrough, an undeniable force that refuses to be suppressed. Carl Gustav Jung identified this phenomenon as the summons to individuation, a psychological journey where the psyche rejects the continued existence beneath masks constructed for approval, safety, and social acceptance. This video transcends mere content. It serves as a reflection, a symbolic mirror that appears precisely when your rational mind exhausts its resources, while your unconscious mind recognizes the moment for action has arrived. This marks the instant when conventional living exposes its true nature, an automated existence molded by external expectations, comfortable social personas, and hollow promises that remain perpetually unfulfilled. Perhaps you find yourself trapped in a relationship that systematically depletes your vitality, or bound to work that, despite providing financial security, quietly assassinates your spirit each passing day. Maybe your constraints are more nuanced. The terror of family disappointment, the dread of social rejection, the burden of a destiny chosen for you rather than by you. Jung cautioned that modern life's greatest peril lies not in disorder, but in unconscious surrender to the inauthentic. The true tragedy is inhabiting someone else's existence without awareness. This explains why awakening emerges through suffering. When the psyche attempts every gentle method to alert the ego, through dreams, quiet breakdowns, emotional depletion, and finds itself ignored, it amplifies its voice. What once manifested as mere discomfort evolves into desperation. Former uncertainties transform into torment. Previous exhaustion becomes complete dissolution. Then something remarkable occurs. You begin magnetizing precisely the messages, symbols, and guidance necessary for your awakening. Not through mystical intervention, but because your soul actively searches for liberation from its internal captivity. This moment brings you to content like this, because the unconscious, as Jung described, possesses symbolic wisdom that manifests when the ego prepares to receive it. You may have discovered this video among countless others, but nothing occurs randomly within the soul's domain. The material you're about to encounter offers no quick solutions or self-improvement shortcuts. It presents a confrontation, a demand to examine your reflection and acknowledge everything you've been evading: the terror, the shame, the rage, the numbness, the guilt, the frustration. These emotions don't indicate weakness. They signal that your current life structure is crumbling because it has reached its breaking point. You aren't damaged. You're being compelled toward rebirth. This is your moment, and delay is no longer possible. The majority of humanity exists as functional automatons. They rise, labor, produce, comply, and repeat endlessly. They mistake this for normality, but it isn't. It's merely commonplace, and commonplace doesn't equal healthy. From childhood, you were trained to pursue security, follow regulations, blend in, remain unobtrusive. The message was unmistakable. Don't question, express gratitude, do what's expected. But expected by whom? Carl Jung wrote in The Undiscovered Self that modern individual souls face their greatest threat not from madness or misery, but from massification, the reduction of human beings into statistical components, interchangeable elements within systems that prioritize conformity over authenticity. When your routine begins suffocating you, that sensation isn't defective, it's diagnostic. A silent cry from your psyche declaring, "This isn't who you are." You may have adhered to every expectation, obtained degrees, secured employment, found companions, shared cheerful photographs, yet emptiness persists, as though part of you observes everything from a distance. This dissociation isn't pathological. It's consciousness attempting to emerge. It's your unconscious signaling that the personality you constructed for survival no longer suffices for living. The normality they marketed to you is an elaborate snare. It provides small pleasures in exchange for your freedom. You receive social validation, steady income, familial approval. But the cost is steep. You surrender your truth, your inner voice, your spontaneity. Over time, you lose touch with your authentic self. Jung observed that societal adaptation becomes pathological when it demands self-abandonment. This precisely describes millions of people's reality, living conventional lives while remaining emotionally numbed, spiritually vacant, existentially adrift. The system rewards compliance with diversions, streaming services, convenient delivery, social media validation, artificial belonging, all designed to prevent you from questioning whether you're truly living or merely existing. This collective deception creates illusory security, but internally, you feel the crack widening. Perhaps you attempt silencing this pain through productivity, entertainment, superficial connections, but no distraction can quiet a soul in crisis. When questioning begins, society tries convincing you that you're the problem. It's just anxiety, stress, you need vacation time. But deep within, you know this transcends fatigue. It's despair. You sense something fundamentally wrong with your existence. Not because you're failing, but because you're awake enough to recognize the entire structure's corruption. False normality masks psychic death, the result of duty-driven rather than meaning-driven existence. Jung declared that the unlived life is a fatal disease, and we witness countless individuals dying gradually, day by day, imprisoned within narratives they never authored. The comfortable lies you've accepted, the small compromises that accumulated over years, the silent betrayals of your own nature, all of these have led to this moment of internal rebellion. You feel trapped because you are trapped, not by external circumstances alone, but by the invisible chains of expectation, the golden handcuffs of approval, the comfortable cage of conformity. You've been living someone else's definition of success while your own soul withers in neglect. The house, the car, the career, the relationship status, none of these external markers can fill the void where your authentic self should reside. But escape exists, beginning with dismantling this charade. The next phase isn't returning to sleep. It's accepting that this unease, restlessness, existential anguish herald something far greater: transformation. And this brings us to understanding why you're not broken, but prepared. If this content resonates with you, please subscribe to support our continued exploration of these vital themes. We inhabit a culture that interprets suffering as failure. Distress means something went wrong. Sadness indicates problems. Feeling displaced suggests personal defects. But this interpretation is dangerously false. Suffering isn't a malfunction requiring correction. It's a message demanding interpretation. Perhaps, for the first time, you're about to understand its meaning. Carl Jung observed that the soul refuses continued pretense when transformation time arrives. What you label existential crisis, emotional collapse, or inner void actually initiates a profound awakening process. Despair, chronic fatigue, displacement feelings, all constitute the psyche's symbolic language declaring your readiness. Ready to shed the persona worn for years. Ready to confront your shadow. Ready to become your authentic self, not society's creation. You may believe you're disintegrating, but what's dissolving isn't you. It's the character created for survival, the protective shell that has become a prison. Your suffering doesn't indicate weakness, it reveals strength. Because only mature souls possess courage to confront emptiness without anesthesia. Only those who've carried falsehood's weight can bear truth's burden. Jung recognized that the human psyche intentionally generates suffering as a transition mechanism. When the ego resists change, the unconscious responds with symptoms: anxiety, insomnia, apathy, anger, confusion. These symptoms aren't obstacles. They are the path. They force stopping, questioning, inner looking. They compel old structure collapse so something new can emerge. The panic attacks that strike without warning, the insomnia that leaves you staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., the inexplicable sadness that overwhelms you in moments of supposed happiness. These are not signs of mental illness. They are breakthrough symptoms. Your psyche is literally breaking through the constructed barriers you've built around your authentic self. Society will urge returning to normal. Medication, courses, self-help books, deep breathing, moving forward. Don't be deceived. That normality created your illness. You don't need return. You need passage. You don't require fixing. You need freedom. The quick fixes, the surface solutions, the positive thinking mantras, all of these are attempts to put you back to sleep, to return you to the comfortable numbness of unconscious living. Your pain represents a threshold, a symbolic gateway. Resistance transforms it into chronic suffering, but listening converts it into initiation. It's uncomfortable, ugly, slow, but real. Most importantly, it's necessary. Jung asserted that individuation begins when you tire of half-living, realizing surface consciousness no longer suffices, understanding the need to integrate hidden aspects, repressed emotions, traumas, impulses, denied desires. This integration isn't spiritual luxury. It's existential urgency. The tears that come from nowhere, the rage that surprises you with its intensity, the grief for a life unlived, these emotions are not problems to solve but territories to explore. Each feeling is a messenger from the unconscious, carrying vital information about what needs to die and what yearns to be born. You're not broken. You're traversing your soul's uncharted territory. Every tear, silence, feeling of lostness contributes to the trail. Pain seeks to awaken you, and as you begin listening, something inevitable happens. You notice certain messages, people, symbols, including this video, appearing with meaning transcending coincidence. This phenomenon deserves deeper exploration. Have you experienced things arriving precisely when most needed? A book appearing unexpectedly on exactly the topic consuming your thoughts? A conversation with a stranger that strikes directly at your deepest concerns? A video like this surfacing during near-collapse moments? This isn't coincidence. It's synchronicity, Jung's fundamental concept describing what logic cannot explain but souls immediately recognize as truth. Jung understood the unconscious as more than trauma or impulse repository. It's living intelligence, a dynamic system constantly attempting to balance, guide, and heal conscious psyche. Approaching breaking points, when souls awaken to greater truths, unconscious symbolic activity intensifies, utilizing everything available: dreams, images, emotions, even digital algorithms. External reality begins mirroring internal transformation. This occurs not through mystical conspiracy but because psyches magnetize evolutionary necessities. When readiness arrives, appropriate symbols emerge. Not shouting but whispering. Not convincing but touching. You feel, with unsettling clarity, this is for you. Intimately directed, unquestionable. It's as if the universe itself is responding to your soul's silent cry for guidance. The unconscious communicates symbolically because it knows ego resistance to change. It doesn't convince rationally. It insinuates, suggests, leads down unexpected paths. Songs that trigger inexplicable tears, book passages describing your exact life situation, recurring dreams that persist night after night with increasing vividness, all represent psychic communication forms. Ignoring them resembles ignoring divine summons. Jung stated that until consciousness integrates the unconscious, it directs your life while you call it fate. But listening to signs transforms the unconscious from hidden enemy to subtle ally, guiding firmly though silently. The repeated numbers you keep seeing, the animals that cross your path at significant moments, the conversations you overhear that seem meant specifically for your ears. These are not random occurrences but meaningful coincidences orchestrated by your own psyche is wisdom. This video represents one such sign. It didn't appear randomly in your feed. It's a response to an unconscious request you've been making, even without conscious awareness. If you're here, something within recognized this content's necessity. Perhaps you cannot explain why you clicked play, why you've watched this far, but your soul knows. It's pushing you toward the next crucial step in your awakening journey. The algorithm didn't bring you here by accident. Your unconscious mind has been searching, seeking, calling out for exactly this message. And now that you've received it, now that you understand you're not broken but ready, now that you recognize the signs and synchronicities guiding you, action becomes necessary. Every genuine transformation requires crossing, and every crossing demands a leap. Not physical, but psychic. The moment requiring abandonment of safe narratives, even if miserable, to approach unknown self-versions. This represents the individuation process's most critical point, described by Jung, where most people retreat because leaps terrify. Leaping means losing footing, having no guarantees, maps, or instructions. It means releasing carefully constructed personas that brought you here but became polished prisons. It means rejecting externally correct appearances to finally embrace internal pulsing. It means saying no to everything appearing right externally to finally say yes to what pulses internally. Jung compared this moment to confronting the inner dragon, an archetype representing fears, doubts, resistances arising at change thresholds. This dragon will claim you're crazy, timing's wrong, you're unprepared, will lose everything, disappoint others, experience regret. It presents every failure scenario because it knows leaping means its death, and ego fears symbolic death more than any pain. The dragon speaks in your mother's worried voice, telling you to be practical, to think of your future, to consider what others will say. It whispers through your father's disappointment, reminding you of all the sacrifices made for your education, your stability, your respectable position in society. It roars through your own fears of inadequacy, convincing you that you're not strong enough, smart enough, or worthy enough to live authentically. But here's the courage-requiring truth that few dare speak. Current fear is not retreat warning. It's forward movement signal. Fear marks exact right positioning. Jung stated that self-encounter initially means shadow encounter. The abyss, the hell from which no one escapes, is the self. This means before finding freedom, you'll confront years of avoided feelings, rejection fears, failure fears, loss fears. You'll face grief over everything requiring death for new birth. This confrontation with your shadow, all the parts of yourself you've denied, suppressed, or been ashamed of, is not optional. It's the price of admission to authentic living. The anger you've swallowed, the creativity you've stifled, the wildness you've tamed, the truth you've silenced. All of it must be acknowledged, integrated, and transformed. This hurts, paralyzes, but also liberates. Because crossing over, even stumbling, crying, doubting, reveals life on fear's other side. Real life. Not survival, conformity, appearance, but presence, authenticity, meaning. The relief of finally being yourself, of no longer maintaining exhausting facades, of speaking your truth even when your voice shakes, this is what awaits you. You needn't be completely ready to leap. Nobody is. You just need sufficient pretense fatigue, lie exhaustion, enough bravery to declare, I don't know what's next, but I cannot stay here. This is the breaking point, the watershed between anesthetized living and awakening courage. Having reached this point indicates leap urgency. The only remaining question, what still holds you back? And this brings us to perhaps the most difficult truth of all. This represents one of the hardest yet most liberating truths. No one will save you. No person, guru, book, therapist, video, or external force will extract you from your situation. No savior will repair your life because that responsibility is exclusively yours. Accepting this begins true liberation, but it also demands everything of you. You've been conditioned to wait for pain recognition, partner change, boss appreciation, family understanding, system functionality, perfect timing emergence, spontaneous courage appearance, but this is all illusion. The external savior archetype is a childish collective unconscious trap. The wounded child's voice still awaiting protection, comfort, direction. But you're no longer that child. You're the adult who must own their journey. Carl Jung clearly stated that individuation, this process of becoming yourself, cannot be lived by proxy. No one can walk this internal, absolutely individual path for you. Every step must be yours, every choice, fall, rebirth, every moment of terror when you realize you're truly alone with your decisions, every triumph when you discover your own strength. Radical responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that happened to you: childhood trauma, family dysfunction, societal conditioning, economic circumstances. But it means taking complete charge of not remaining where you are. Even if others caused pain, healing depends entirely on you. Even if the system is rigged, your response is your power. The truth is, our system profits from your passivity, wanting you dependent, insecure, obedient, rule-following without questioning, consuming solutions, numbing consciousness, waiting for ready-made answers. Corporate culture needs your compliance. Consumer culture needs your dissatisfaction. Political culture needs your division. None of these systems benefit from your awakening, your authenticity, your individual power. You've waited far too long. Enough. This moment demands breaking free from emotional, spiritual, existential dependency. No one will knock to rescue you. There'll be no clear signs appearing like movie moments. There'll be no instruction manual provided. What exists is growing internal discomfort, the persistent inner voice that provokes, torments, invites action, telling you with increasing strength, either change or continue dying in slow motion. You possess all necessary crossing resources within you, but outsourcing freedom maintains captivity. Waiting for someone's permission to leave jobs, end relationships, start over, relocate, pursue dreams, speak truth, means continuing to live others' lives instead of your own. The approval you seek will never come. The perfect moment will never arrive. The fear will never fully disappear. The ego will claim impossibility, danger, unpreparedness. But ego is cowardly, seeking mere survival while your soul demands life. Taking complete life responsibility initiates true maturity. The moment you stop victimizing yourself and start rebuilding, silently, without audience or guarantees, but with dignity. This raises the inevitable question: what exists beyond this fear? What emerges after accepting solitude and self-dependent leaping? Jung provides a clear answer: real life, the one you came to live but postponed too long. An invisible line separates the life you live from the life you came to live. This line isn't constructed from external obstacles, money shortage, or others' opinions. It's built entirely from fear. Change fear, disappointment fear, failure fear, fear of leaving normality's cave to walk alone into unknown territory. But beyond this fear, your real life begins. Jung teaches that fear isn't an enemy. It's a portal guardian. Every time you feel dread about changing, breaking free, taking risks, you're about to touch something sacred, your true self. The polite, functional, smiling persona you created served protective purposes but now imprisons you. The escape key lies where you least want to look, within the fear itself. The pain you feel, haunting anguish, emptiness hidden behind endless distractions, all represent the soul relentlessly pushing toward your rightful life. You know this truth because you felt it throughout both parts of this video. Even without complete explanation, something within recognizes these words are specifically for you, not someone generic, but you. What awaits you on the other side isn't guaranteed success, universal approval, or external validation. What awaits you is something far more valuable: the experience of being fully alive, the relief of authentic expression, the joy of meaningful work, the peace of honest relationships, the excitement of creative fulfillment, the satisfaction of living according to your own values rather than inherited expectations. You'll discover strengths you never knew you possessed. You'll find that the very qualities society taught you to suppress, your sensitivity, your intensity, your nonconformity, your questioning nature, are actually your greatest gifts. You'll learn that the path everyone said was impossible is not only possible, but necessary for your soul's evolution. But this transformation isn't a destination. It's a way of being. It's choosing authenticity moment by moment, even when it's uncomfortable. It's speaking your truth even when your voice shakes. It's following your intuition even when logic argues against it. It's trusting your inner wisdom even when the world calls you foolish. The question isn't whether you're ready. You'll never feel completely ready. The question is, will you continue dragging yourself through a life that makes you sick, or will you cross through fear to begin truly living? No one will come to save you. There'll be no clear signs appearing. There'll be no instruction manual provided. But there will be choice. And that choice is here, now, in this moment. The choice between the familiar prison of false living and the terrifying freedom of authentic existence. This is your moment. The breakdown you've experienced, the despair that brought you here, the synchronicity that delivered this message, all of it has prepared you for this single choice. Will you choose comfort or growth? Will you choose approval or authenticity? Will you choose survival or life? The old you is dying anyway. The persona you've maintained is crumbling regardless. The question is whether something new and authentic will be born from its ashes, or whether you'll frantically try to resurrect what was never real to begin with. So, leave your mark, a small phrase, symbolic declaration. Write in the comments, "I choose to cross." Not for me, for yourself, because naming invokes power. Writing creates commitment. Speaking your intention aloud changes your reality. This could become your new life's first truly conscious decision. If these 2 videos found you precisely when you needed them most, as I absolutely believe they did, continue exploring this channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this message with others who might need to hear it. Your awakening isn't just about you. It's about contributing to the collective awakening of humanity. The next video in this series awaits, offering practical steps for navigating the early stages of transformation. You have already begun this journey by watching both parts. Don't stop now. Don't retreat. Your authentic life waits on the other side of fear, and you have everything necessary to reach it. The call has been issued. The choice is yours. The moment is now. What will you choose?